in the last lecture, we discussed about to calculate the method of moles. Now we will discuss about how we can calculate the number of entities. Number of entities. As we have discussed that entities include number of ions, particles, atoms, molecules, and particles include electrons, protons, neutrons, etc. So to calculate the number of entities, we should use a formula. We can use the expression that is n into Na and bracket number of present or said entity. It is to be noted that to calculate the number of entities, first we will find the number of moles and we will multiply this Na by Na, which is Avogadro's number, and now we will calculate the number of present or said entity which has been asked in the question. We can take an example to explain this. Suppose if you have been provided that 14 CO2, you have been provided at 14 CO2 and the 4.6 gram of 14 CO2 is taken. Now in this 4.6 gram of 14 CO2, you wish to calculate the number of molecules, number of atoms, number of electrons, number of protons, number of neutrons. So first step is to calculate the number of moles, as I told you that. So 4 gram of 14 CO2, definitely 4.6 gram divided by 46. Definitely the mass of molar mass of CO2, which include the isotope of carbon, is 14, will be 46. So this will give 0.1 mole. So now we have calculate the number of moles. So the number of moles is 0.1. It will be multiplied by Na. So our first answer will be 0.1 Na. Now number of atoms is to be calculated. So definitely according to the formula we will use 0.1 into Na. Now we will calculate the number of atoms. So obviously one molecule of CO2 contains one carbon and two oxygen atoms. So we will multiply by this into 3. Now it is calculated to be number of electrons. So 0.1 into Na as per the formula. Now number of electron is to be calculated. So definitely in CO2, number of electron in carbon is 6 and number of electrons in oxygen will be 16, 8 in each. So 16 plus 6, this will be equal to 22. So we can multiply this and the answer will be 2.2 Na. Now number of protons will be the same as number of electron, which is 2.2 Na. Now it is to be calculated number of neutrons. We know that the number of neutrons n equal to atomic mass number minus number of protons. So to calculate the number of neutrons in 14 CO2, we will write the mass number, which is 14 and which is 16 for the oxygen. So we can find the number of neutrons in the 14 CO2 as 14 minus 6, that will be 8, plus 16 minus 8, that will be 8 into 2, 16 plus 8, that will be equal to 22. So definitely the correct answer will be 0.1 into Na, which is required, as I told you, into 24. So definitely the correct answer will be 2.4 Na. One thing more, if it is required to calculate the number of gram molecules of CO2, then it is to be noted that gram molecules of CO2 is to be calculated. Then the gram molecules is the amount which in the modern view called moles. It is not the molecules, it is not the entity. So the correct answer will be 0.1. It is to be noted that the number of molecules is entity, but the number of gram molecules is not entity. It is actually amount of substance which is moles. So in the 4.6 gram 14 CO2, if it has been asked the gram molecules of CO2, then the answer will be 0.1 and the number of molecules will be 0.1 Na. I think आपको ये समझ में आया होगा. So in the next video we will discuss more example to calculate the number of entities. Thank you very much.